And this course begins with a par 5. All right, time to giddy up. Get that ball in the fairway, and we'll mosey on our way. And with that, you have begun. And we're about, I don't know, 200 yards or so from the pin from here. And this shot is fading a little bit. 12 feet to go. This one looks like it's breaking to the left. Wow, amazing. All right, you're sitting right at 2 under for the moment. All right, let's go. Par 3, second hole. You can do this. Nicely done, playing a little draw shot. Safe approach, nice. This one's from around 21 feet. And it looks like this one's going pretty hard right to left. Well, this one's starting out okay. Okay, let's tap this one on in and move on our way. And tapping this one in for par, well done. And after that hole, you're 2 under par. And we're teeing up now on the 3rd. That was good stuff. This one's about 110 yards from the pin. Looks like this one's heading for the green. And sink this next putt and you'll grab that birdie. This one looks like it starts straight and then heads to the right. And that'll go down for the birdie. Way to roll that rock. And after that hole, you are now 3 under par. And sliding into this par 4 fourth hole, let's see what you can do. And this one's about 180 yards out. Hitting into this green with a bit of a down slope, and don't want this one to get away from you. Oh my word, that almost dropped in the bucket. And this putt for the birdie. And it looks like our leader is ahead by 3 strokes at the moment. Okay, stepping on to the 5th, and we got a par 3 ahead of us. We're on the green with that one. Well done. And here we have a 16-foot putt. Ooh, almost drained that one for the birdie. Okay, we tap that in. We're moving to the next. And your score this round is currently 4 under par. And here's our second shot on the 6th. Might be a little strong. Great work there. That's a great approach. Here is a 12-footer. Looks like this one will break a bit to the left. Ooh. Okay, let's drain this and get our par. And there we go. And our leader currently has a 4-stroke advantage on the field. Teeing off now on the 7th. Taking driver off the fairway, are ya? Oh yeah, I'll approve that. This one's your 3rd. From here, who knows what could happen, but I'm eager to find out. Oh my, flew right by the hole. Here we go, par putt. And with that, we will move on to the next. Okay, par 4 for the 8th. Yeah, we'll take that. Setting up around 130 yards. This is looking decent, and then some. 32 feet from the cup. We got an uphill putt here, moving to the right. Yikes, that went right by. All right, par putt. Our current leader is ahead by 4 strokes as we check the board here. And we can cap off the front 9 with a par 4. Should be smooth sailing off the tee. And here we are, just in this greenside rough. Oof, right by with the chip. Okay, come on now. This to save your par. And right now you are at 4 under par for the day. Teeing it up now on the 10th. Tee shot's looking decent. We are about 195 yards out from here. And from 22 feet out. And this putt's moving to the left and up the hill. Oh, look at this thing. Oh, no! How dare you? How dare you do that to me? And after that one, you're bringing your score down to 5 under. And here we go. We're on hole number 11, and we got a par 4. Well, that tee shot looks like it'll do. Setting up here about 105 from the pin. Was well played. This one's just a 5-footer. Oh yeah, well done. Back-to-back birdies. And our current leader ahead by 5 strokes. And now to the 12th hole. It's a par 3. Nicely done. A little bit of draw action here. Nothing wrong with that. Safely on the green. And from here, 20 feet to the cup. And this one's going pretty hard right to left. Oh, this one's looking okay. Yes! Drops it on in there. What a putt. All right, let's see what we can do here on the 13th. I think this one's fairway bound. That's bold, using the driver off the fairway. I'll take it. Eight under par if you can drop this. I think this one will go left to right. Looking good. Good work out there. That's birdie number 6 today. And as we check the board, it is a 5-stroke lead for the person in first. 14th hole coming up. We got a par 4 for this one. All right, this shot is around 115 yards out. Ooh, look at this thing. Well done. That's another green in regulation under your belt. And here you go. This for the birdie. Boom. Dropping on in for your 7th birdie of the day. And you're sitting right there at 9 under par after that hole. Let's see what happens here on the 15th. I'm liking it. And this one's around 175 yards out. This shot's having a bit of fade to it. Okay, we're on the green. All right, this one from 17 feet. This one's breaking just a touch left to right. It could be a good one. And it drops. Good job there. And our leader currently is enjoying a 5-stroke lead on the rest of the pack. Okay, here's the 16th. It's a par 3. Nicely done. Well judged. Here we go. Drop this one for birdie. All right, now let's set our sights to the next. And after that one, it's 11 under par for you. Teeing off here on a short par 4. This one needs to hold on to the fairway. And here's our second shot on the 17th. Coming through with the chip. This one's just a 3-foot putt. And everyone's chasing our leader here today at the moment. 5-stroke lead. Let's see what happens here. We got a long par 4 for this one. Second shot on the 18th. Oh, good work out there. You found the green there, and that's understating it. Okay, the putt goes down, and we're done here. And at the end of this one, 13 under par for you. And that's gonna do it for us here today. Thank you so much for the round of golf. I had fun. Hopefully you did too. Hello there, my name is John McCarthy, and I'm pleased to welcome you to PGA Tour 2K25. Things are going to happen for us today. I got a feeling. We're kicking things off on a par 5 first hole. Let's drop this one in the middle of the first fairway, take it from there. What do you say? Sweet. And second shot here on the first. You must be feeling lucky. Taking driver off the turf. There you go. This is shaping up. Putting for eagle next. Ooh, this is shaping up to be interesting. This putt for eagle. This one's going uphill and going to the right. So far, so good. 15 under par is your score. All right, you got this. Second hole, par 3. Let's do it. Come on, heading for the green. Great work on the approach. You saw that one, didn't you? 7-foot putt here. And after that hole, you sit at 16 under par. All right, we got a par 4 on this third hole. Okay, there you go. Well, it's going right by the hole. All right, this putt for the birdie. And after that hole, you are currently 17 under par. Teeing off now in a long par 4. Oh, dear gracious, you just tattooed that one. And this one's about 190 or so to the pin. Nice. About 6 feet to go here. And our current leader ahead by 5 strokes. And here on the 5th hole, we have a par 3. Nice little draw onto this one. Okay, here's your look at birdie. Nice stroke on that one. That's your 4th birdie of the day. And as we check the board, it is a 5-stroke lead for the person in first. And we are on the 6th hole now. That was good. And this one's about 130 yards away. Oh, how dialed are you today? Look at that one. Okay, we're going to take another look at that. Let's see the replay. And our current leader ahead by 6 strokes on the rest of the field. And 7th hole's a par 5. That drive was fierce. And this is around the 245-yard mark. Nice chip. Fantastic. Ooh, and just a tap-in birdie on this one. And everyone's chasing the player on the top of the leaderboard, currently enjoying a 7-stroke lead. Well, tee shot's looking good here. All right, second shot on the 8th. Ooh, this is coming in hot. This could be a birdie if you want to drop this in the hole. That was a good putt, and it drops in for birdie number 6 on the day. And everyone's chasing this person on the top of the leaderboard. 7-stroke lead for them right now. And the 9th is a par 4. Oh boy, this one's heading for the sand. All right, let's leave this sand behind us. What do you say? Ooh, nicely done. We're out of the bunker. Safe shot on the green. Ooh, setting up for birdie here. Ooh, easy Tiger. And about 5 feet to go. And it is a 7-stroke lead for our leader. Not a bad place. Let's see what you can do here on the 10th hole. Great drive. That was some power. And from here, we're looking at about 230 yards or so. I'll tell you what, that was some that's some great golf I just saw on this hole. Next putt for eagle. Okay, now this from 11 feet. Nice job. There's your eagle. And there is an 8-stroke difference between first and second place at the moment. That is a large gap. And a par 4 coming up here on the 11th. Good shot. Here's our second shot on hole number 11. You'll be all right there. We've got a 17-foot putt on this one. I think this is going to go right to left. You're cooking out there. 7th birdie so far. And the current leader way out ahead today. Currently at an 8-stroke lead on the rest of the field. Okay, the 12th hole is in front of us. We got a par 3 for this one. Oh yeah, there's another green and reg. I'm liking it. And here we go, this one for birdie. Sort of straight to start out with this one, and then it goes a bit to the left. And the current leader is ahead by 8 strokes. Hard to catch this one. Here we go now on the 13th. This one's coming around. Nice little draw. Good shot. Oh, man. Wanted that chip to go. And here we go for the birdie. And that putt safely in its home. Our current leader is ahead by 8 big strokes at the moment. Here we go. Now, the 14th hole. This one's a par 4. And look at that thing go. Oh my goodness, he smashed it. Setting up here 145 yards away. Oh, that'll do. Here's an 11-footer. This one's breaking left to right. Oh, it's getting there. So good, so good. It's going to be hard to catch this one. Our leader currently has a 8-stroke advantage on the rest of the field. Here comes hole number 15. That's looking nice off the tee. And we're about 130 yards to the pin from here. And with this approach, you got to be careful with that downslope around the pin. This one could get away from you. And a nice easy fade on this one. All right, let's tap this in and move to the next. And the current leader way out ahead today, currently at an 8-stroke lead on the rest of the field. Next up is the 16th hole. This one's a par 3. This one's looking pretty good. Way to go out there, champ. 6 feet to the cup. And there is an 8-stroke difference between first and second place at the moment. That is a large gap. Okay, now on to the 17th hole. This one's a par 4. Looking fine from the tee here. Ooh, it almost went down. This one's just a 3-footer. Our current leader is ahead by 8 big strokes at the moment. Let's see what happens here on the 18th. Well done. This is setting up to be around 150 yards to the pin. Oh, look at this shot. Okay, this one's a 3-footer. All right, you drop that putt, and we're done here. Hopefully I'll find something to do until the next time. Okay, that will do it for me. Thank you so much for playing, and we will see you soon. Big hello to you from myself, John McCarthy. Pleased to welcome you to PGA Tour 2K25. Looking forward to today, no question. We have a par 5 first hole in front of us. Let's rip this little ball into the fairway and be on our way. Second shot here on the first. And it looks like you're putting for eagle from here. That's not bad at all. And here is your eagle putt. Looks like this putt will track a bit to the right. Looks like you got a line on this. Oh, and the putt doesn't go. And your performance on this first hole bodes well for the rest of your round. We're starting out under par. I like seeing that. All right, par 3, second hole. Let's do this. Nice shot into this green. Good work. Okay, here's your birdie look. Oh, come on. Come on, ball. Oh, just a tap in here. Okay, let's take a look at the leaderboard, see what's up. Third hole, par 4. Let's go. That'll do nicely. Whoa, you almost got that. Here's a 7-foot putt. Teeing up here on the 4th hole. Nice looking shot. All right, this one's about 175 from the pin. Ooh, nicely shaped shot coming up. Good shot. 8 feet to the cup. That was nice. Back-to-back birdies. And everyone's chasing the player on the top of the leaderboard. Currently enjoying a 7-stroke lead. All right, lovely little par 3 here for the 5th. Decent approach there. This one's about 21 feet to the cup. This putt's going left to right pretty hard. Well, this one's on a line. All right, here's the tap. And that'll do it for this hole. Let's check the scorecard. And now for the par 4 6th. Well done. Okay, this one's about 105 yards out. Ooh, this one's heading for it. Nice stroke. We're on the green. This putt's around 13 feet out. This one looks like it has a bit of a break to the right. Oh, birdie putt as well. That could have been good. All right, give this a tap. Our current leader ahead by 6 strokes at the moment. Okay, let's see what you can do here on the 7th. Good job. So you've dialed in a little fade on this shot. Look at you go. On the green and under regulation, putting for eagle here. Good stuff. Oh yeah, sink this one for John. And, well, I won't give you anything, but I'll probably say nice things if you do. This one's a short 3-foot putt. Good work out there today. That's your 4th birdie so far. And our leader is ahead by 6 strokes as we check the scoreboard here. Okay, have a good tee shot here on the 8th hole. We have a par 4 ahead of us. That was powerful. All right, this one's about 85 yards out. Ooh, looking good, looking good. And chalk up another green in regulation. And this putt for the birdie. Nice putt, and that is for birdie number 5 on the day. And our current leader is ahead of the pack by 6 strokes as we check the leaderboard here. Now we have the par 4 9th ahead of us. No good. And here's our second shot on the 9th. And maybe you want to dial a little backspin in here. This is a downslope that could be dangerous around the pin. Okay, careful on this one. We're in the green side rough. Oh, close. Pretty close with that chip. Okay, let's take a look at this next hole now. Here comes the 10th hole. Oh man, that was just striped. It's setting up about 220 yards away. Ugh, rolled right by. Okay, this is putting to the extreme. This is so far away from the cup, it's crazy. Good luck. And from there, not a bad result. Here we go, this putt for the bird. Great work out there on the course today. Birdie number 6. And our leader currently is enjoying a 5-stroke lead on the rest of the pack. Nothing wrong with that. Second shot here on the 11th. Yep, that's gonna work. This putt's about 5 feet. Nice work. That's birdie number 7 today. Our leader is currently ahead of the pack by 5 strokes. I'm okay with that. Okay, 25-footer to go. This is an uphill putt and moving to the left. Oh, what do we have here? All right, tap this one on in. We'll head to the next. And our current leader ahead by 5 strokes. Here we go, 13th hole. This one's a par 5. This one looks pretty good. Should be in the fairway. Little play. Ooh, nice little chip on that one. Here we go for your birdie. And everyone's chasing our leader here today at the moment. 5-stroke lead. And here comes hole number 14 at us. My word, that was some serious power. All right, this one's about 125 yards out. Good work there. Great shot on the approach. And this putt's around 7 feet. Oh, yeah. Second consecutive birdie. I like the way this is going. And as we check the board, it is a 5-stroke lead for the person in first. Okay, here we go with the 15th hole. We got a par 4 on this one. It was a good one. Second shot here on the 15th. Coming in for a landing on the short stuff. Could be good. Sink this and you'll pull down a birdie. Our leader is currently ahead of the pack by 5 strokes. And now, number 16, it's a par 3. This shot's looking good. Nice little draw. There you go. That's what you want. Looking at an 11-foot putt here. This starts off pretty straight and then turns to the right a bit. All right, a little tap putt here. All right, tapping that one in for par. Moving on. And our leader currently is enjoying a 5-stroke lead on the rest of the pack. Teeing up now on number 17. And driving the old green, putting for eagle. Nothing wrong with that. Now here's your eagle putt. What do you think? All right, starting this out to the left. And this putt from 4 feet. And everyone's chasing our leader here today at the moment. 5-stroke lead. Okay, on to the par 4 18th. Yeah, drive's looking decent here. And this one's around 140 yards to the pin. Okay, here comes the green. That's a good one. Nice pin high. And a 4-foot putt. And today you get to finish your round with the birdie. That's a great way to do it, I think. And that's going to do it. We are done here. Hopefully I'll see you soon, though. Hello to you. My name's John, and I'm officially welcoming you to this society event. This is the final round of the event. Repeat. No more rounds after this one, so we gotta put all our eggs into one basket here and just go for it, I think. Okay, second shot here on the first. Okay, this one for Eagle. Looks like this one's taking a break to the left. This one's tracking. Now we got a par 3 on this second hole. Let's knock it close. Ooh, there's a golf shot. And this is about 4 feet. And the third hole has gifted us this par 4. Let's have a good tee shot. I think we're going to be in the fairway with this one. And this one's from around 75 yards out. And there's a bit of a downslope around the pin. You got to be careful of that. Yep, that's going to do. Here we go. This putt for birdie. And teeing this one up on the 4th. We'll take those all day. Setting up here about 190 yards or so to the pin. Okay, on the green safely. Good luck on this one. We've got 16 feet. Oh, almost had the birdie there. All right, tapping in for par on this one. Heading to the next. And our leader is ahead by 4 strokes at the moment. And let's let this fly here on the 5th. Good job. We're on the green. Lining up for the 13-foot putt. This one's leaning tiny little bit to the left. Yes, that's perfection. Nice job, birdie. And our leader currently has a 4-stroke advantage on the field. All right, par 4 for us on the 6th hole. Yeah, I think we will hit the fairway here. Okay, this is about 125 yards away. Come on, ball. Kick to the right. And this is your look at birdie. Boom. And that's your 4th birdie of the day. And our current leader is ahead by 4 strokes as we check the board here. And now for the 7th hole, we have a par 5. Good gracious, you tattooed that drive. Don't see that every day. I guess you're just going to take that driver off the fairway and be on your way. And there's some fantastic golf putting for Eagle. And this putt is very, very long. Just do what you can. See if we can get this close maybe. Okay, you got this one out to the left. Just a little tap needed here. And as that drops, that's your 5th birdie of the day. And our leader is ahead by 4 strokes at the moment. Teeing up here on the 8th hole. Good gracious, you absolutely lit that one up. That was a huge try. Setting up here about, I'd say 100 yards out. This is looking good so far. Well, that'll do for now. And from 23 feet away. Looking good so far. And it drops. Well done. Fantastic putt. And our leader currently has a 4-stroke advantage on the field. Okay, here we go. Par 4 here on the 9. I approve. Setting up about 115 yards out. I think this one's going for it. Seems like you're doing pretty good in the approach shot department. 3 feet to go. Wonderful work out there so far. That's your 7th birdie on the day. And the person in first place has a 4-stroke lead at the moment. All right, the 10th hole here is a par 5. Good job. I'm having that. And this putt is way out there. Best of luck. This one's going uphill and to the right. Now that putt's just going to fly right by the hole, I guess. Here's a putt for birdie. I'm loving it. That's birdie number 8 on the day. And as we check the board, it is a 5-stroke lead for the person in first. Hole number 11 coming up. Oh, she's coming in nice to the fairway, I think. And we're setting up about 120 yards out. This one's drawing. Solid approach there, pin high. This next putt is for your birdie. And our current leader ahead by 5 strokes. And now we head over to the par 3 12th. Oh my, that almost dropped. This one's a 10-foot putt. I think we got a right to left break on this one. Well, the putt appears to be on line. And our leader currently is enjoying a 5-stroke lead on the rest of the pack. The 13th presents us with a par 5. Okay, this is about 240 yards or so from the pin. Great job on that approach. And this putt from 10 feet. And this one's breaking just a little bit to the left. Oh, you like that one, don't you? And everyone's chasing our leader here today at the moment. 5-stroke lead. Okay, it's a lengthy par 4. Come on now, give us a nice little fairway lie. Good luck on your second shot here on the 14th. Here we go. This drops and you get a bird. This one's got a pretty hard break left to the right. This one's looking decent. Oh, and it doesn't go. Oh, man. Our leader is currently ahead of the pack by 5 strokes. Let's see what happens on the 15th hole of this course. Nicely done. This one's about 130 yards out. Well, this one could play. And here comes a 4-footer. And as we check the board, it is a 5-stroke lead for the person in first. Okay, let's see what you can do here on the par 3 16th. Well done. And this one is for the birdie. And our leader currently is enjoying a 5-stroke lead on the rest of the pack. And the 17th is next. This one's a par 4. Look at this. Drive in the green and got a putt for eagle coming up. That's all right. Setting up here, looking for the eagle. So far, so good. Oh, and it doesn't go down. No! And with that tap, it's a birdie on the scorecard. And everyone's chasing our leader here today at the moment. 5-stroke lead. All right, let's see what we can do off the tee here. It's a long par 4. Decent looking tee shot, I think. Time for our second shot here on number 18. Come on, be the right club. 6 feet to go here. Okay, the putt drops, and that's it for today. Well, that is all she wrote for me. I had an enjoyable time ripping around the links with you today. See you next time.
You already know what time it is. Yeah, it's time to wait for the YouTube checks to be completed before this video is allowed to be published on YouTube, but it is also showtime, baby, because Detroit and Steve Yzerman have signed Patrick Kane to a 1-year contract with an AAV of $3 million. It is showtime, baby. $1 million bucks. No, 1 year, excuse me. $3 million bucks. Patrick Kane is providing tremendous value for the Detroit Red Wings here. I never thought I'd see it. I'd never thought I'd see the day where Patty Kane was a quote-unquote loyal Detroit Red Wing. I mean, he chose to sign with the Red Wings in 2023 after the surgery and after the recovery and where everybody was debating if he'd actually be a player who's capable of playing National Hockey League games. Detroit believed in him. Detroit did their due diligence on him. He decided to go there. He signed a contract, and then he signed again. And then he signed again. Patrick Kane is getting contract by contract by contract with the Detroit Red Wings, and I don't know, man, something about this is so interesting to me, how this guy is just deciding, yeah, no, I can stay here. Detroit is my place now. $2.75 million AAV deal with the Detroit Red Wings the first time. Expiry 2024. Then June 30th, 2024, he decides to come back. Okay, 1 year, $4 million in Detroit. Expiry 2025. And now, 1 year after he had signed the last contract, he signs it again. He doesn't even take himself to unrestricted free agency. He's just like, okay, great. I can go out there and sign with this team one more time. There's no reason for me to go elsewhere. Patty Kane is a loyal Detroit Red Wing at this point, and I'm sorry, Chicago Blackhawks fans, nothing you can say will dismiss that fact from being reality. Patty Kane this previous season had 59 points in 72 games played. He had 47 points in 50 games played in his first year with the Red Wings. This was slightly under a point per game. This was a little bit less under a point per game. So maybe that's why the contract that he got this time around was a little cheaper than the $4 million he had last time. So he goes from $3 to $4 million at 36, turning 37 years old. In a rising cap world, there's a lot to love out of Patrick Kane and this story of his here, which allows the Detroit Red Wings to capitalize and take advantage of a top-tier playmaker who wants to play in their organization. I mean, what else is there to say, right? Is it showtime? Yeah. Benchrate says, I love this extension. He's worth more than the money. Benchrate says that Patrick Kane, his contribution level is about $6.8 million worth of value there. So the Red Wings are doing a buy one, get one free here, spend $3 million, get an extra $3.8 million worth of value in general contribution for your hockey team. I'd say that's pretty good. I really, really like this extension for both Patty Kane. Actually, I mean, Patty Kane could have gotten more, to be honest, so maybe I don't necessarily like it for him. But for Patrick Kane, I like this move to stick around with the Detroit Red Wings, to commit yourself with the Red Wings organization, and to just be a part of this franchise. Grow alongside of Lucas Raymond. Try to get that magic going with Alex DeBrincat one more time. And just try to see what else the Red Wings are cooking as they continue to grow and continue to maybe make some big swings in free agency. You can see it right here. Patty Kane probably going to still be in that top six with Alex DeBrincat. Who knows what happens with Comfer and Kopp? Who knows what the second line center spot looks like? I would hope it's Marco Kasper, but if the Wings are able to get somebody else who's even better, and that allows Kasper to play on first line wing with Raymond and Larkin, I would like the sound of that too. There are a lot of options here for the Detroit Red Wings, and if we head over to their line combinations, I think this is also a noteworthy point to make. Yeah, it says Rasmussen because he was there. Casper was in that second line spot with DeBrincat and Kane. They have Edward Tralmox listed here on the third line. Okay, that's probably not going to happen, just saying. Jonathan Berggren signed today, so of course he's going to be penciled in here in the middle six. Albert Johansson also, top 4 D-man. What a guy signing for so cheap. But Patty Kane, if he's able to find himself a new center, if the Red Wings are able to grab somebody else in free agency or via a trade to allow Casper to go up to the top unit, move Rasmussen down, maybe into the middle to bottom 6 and the top penalty killing role, there could be some really good minor adjustments made by the Red Wings. But ultimately, out of the most talented pieces, the guys that are sticking around, these are the guys that you want to be sticking around. Larkin's under contract. Raymond under contract. Alex DeBrincat, he's fine too. Patty Kane, now for the next year's worth of time, is still going to be a Detroit Red Wing. And all the Wings have to do now is, they got to get some soda to go with their burger. So Elmer Soderblom, I'm guessing he will be next, assuming the Red Wings actually have plans of keeping him around. It's not guaranteed, but I would say it's probably more likely than not. Tyler Mott also needs a contract. I love Tyler Mott. Everybody knows that everybody in Vancouver loves Tyler Mott, but I'm not too sure if he's going to get a contract extension. Craig Smith is also an interesting one here too. The Red Wings acquired him in the Joe Veleno trade. By the way, did anybody notice? Anybody see the Chicago Blackhawks? They traded Joe Veleno away for, I believe it was Andre Burakovsky, was it? I'm not too sure. Joe Veleno trade. They traded him over to Seattle, and then he got bought out. So that's a very unfortunate way for Veleno's career to have continued over here. Here we go. Puckpedia.com, Joe Veleno, he got bought out, and he was traded for Burakovsky. That's exactly who it was, just about a week ago. So that was another one of these guys. The Red Wings had him. They traded him away for Peter Mrazek and Craig Smith. Peter Mrazek, of course, he is no longer in Detroit as well. He's in Anaheim. He got sent over for John Gibson. So when you think about it, like the Red Wings, Craig Smith and Joe Veleno and all that stuff, they sent away Veleno for a guy whose contract will expire in Smith and a guy whom they traded to Anaheim for John Gibson, only for Veleno to be flipped to Seattle, and then he got bought out. So Steve Yzerman, man, he's escaping this treacherous time in the offseason by making some pretty good moves, making some signings, making some trades, and I think Red Wings fans, they got nothing but praise for these contracts. Now, I get it, there will be the odd fan or two that says that Patrick Kane doesn't really play defense, he doesn't really add much outside of his offense, therefore is that money really worth spending? Well, honestly, at $3 million, you can't really go wrong with a guy who can get 50 to 60 points. I like Patrick Kane a lot, and he's signing for cheap. So this works out, I would say, for the Detroit Red Wings pretty well. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Patrick Kane signing this contract with the Detroit Red Wings. It is a 1-year, $3 million AAV deal. Do you like it? Do you not? Let me know in the comments why that is. I hope you enjoyed this video. Roll 99, and bye.
Over the last 20 years, we have seen a ton of busts in the NHL come and go, but today we're going to go through every single draft year from 2005 all the way to now to see who the biggest draft bust is from every single year. So who was the worst of the worst in every single draft, and what can we learn from them today? Well, make sure you watch till the end as we go through every single draft bust, and hit that subscribe button if you're new as well for more hockey content just like this all throughout the offseason. Now we're just going to go through the drafts in recent memory, which starts us all the way back in the 2005 NHL draft, and this was honestly a pretty solid draft all around. You had great talent like Sidney Crosby first overall, but after that, like Anze Kopitar, Paul Stastny, and on the goaltending side, Jonathan Quick, Carey Price, Tuukka Rask. But to me, out of all the draft picks, the worst was 6th overall by the Columbus Blue Jackets when they end up selecting Gilbert Brulé. Brulé, I think, just came in the wrong era. As a smaller player, he was a much more physical presence than you'd really expect for a player like that, but I think the league wasn't quite ready for one of those players players to truly succeed, and especially in Brulé's case, he's somebody that was never really able to find a fit with Columbus. Almost immediately was placed as a bottom 6 guy who would play around 10 minutes or so a night, just not enough time to really reach his potential or develop his skill set. He would later get traded to the Edmonton Oilers, but would flop back and forth between the AHL and NHL. He would have a pretty successful season in 2010, getting 37 points, 17 goals in 65 games, but at that point he had plateaued and was unable to find the consistency nor the health to sustain his NHL career. I think if Brulé played today and had better health throughout his career, he could have been an impact forward. I just think he was a part of a bygone era where it was so incredibly hard to make as a smaller player, and Brulé just did not have the capacity nor the health to be able to make it. Going on to the 2006 NHL draft, which is also a pretty great one, having top-end players like Giroux, Backstrom, Kessel, Marchand, Jonathan Toews, and more. But to me, by far the worst draft pick of the bunch was James Shepard, a 9th overall pick by the Minnesota Wild. I think Shepard was just another case of a mishandled draft pick. He was somebody in 2006 that was looking like a great power forward in the future and would play one more season in the QMJHL, getting 96 points in 56 games. But then Minnesota would put him directly in the NHL. They were desperate for offense at that point, but he just wasn't the player at that point in his career to be able to put up massive numbers. And you can see in his first couple of seasons in the NHL, 19 points, 24 points. It's not horrendous, but it's not the perfect amount that you want to see. And the next season, he would play 64 games in his last season with Minnesota and got just 6 points to show for it. And afterwards, he bounced between the AHL and the NHL in the Sharks system, had a couple of okay seasons, got 20 points in 2014, but after 2015 would go right to Europe and would never come back. I think Shepard's interesting because if he had more development time, I think he could have been a really consistent player, but I don't think he was ever going to be this great offensive producer. Watching him, he was an okay scorer, but really the strongest traits were the physical prowess, the protection of the puck, the play along the boards. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the Minnesota Wild's pick in Charlie Stramel in the first round a couple of years back, where the offense might not be there, but there's some great pro attributes. But Shepard just was not able to translate that to consistent NHL success, being brought to the NHL in a role almost immediately. And unfortunately, in Shepard's case, I think he was another prospect that was rushed, and that ultimately ruined a player's career. Now on to the 2007 NHL draft, and in the middle of players like Patrick Kane, James Van Riemsdyk, Jakub Voracek, and Logan Couture stood the 8th overall pick by the Boston Bruins in Zach Hamel. It's honestly pretty impressive just how much Zach Hamel dropped off the face of the earth. As a prospect that was a draft pick just before Logan Couture, he was somebody that was electric in his junior days. He got 93 points in 69 games back in 2007 with Everett, which would lead the WHL as a draft eligible. But as you can see, he kind of toiled away at the pro level, not really making too much of an impression at the AHL level, and whenever he was given opportunity in the NHL, he really didn't do much with it. His biggest opportunity came in 2012, where he played 16 games, getting 2 assists for 2 points with 0 goals. And 7 years after he was drafted, he's right to Russia, then playing in Europe to play out his hockey days. But honestly, he really wasn't even that good of a player overseas. He had a good season in the Liga, I guess you could say, in 2015, but just a couple years later, he'd be playing in the second tier of German hockey. Not where you want to be. I think the biggest issues for Zach Hamel related to skating and the size that he has. Again, this was still a pretty tough era of hockey, and at 5'11", 181 pounds, the big weakness for Hamel was the skating speed. It was a lack of pure pace, and especially when you're a smaller player like that, you need to be able to create yourself and to get past opposition. With Hamel, he was a little bit just too one-dimensional to make it happen. And in the era where the Bruins didn't make too many bad picks, Zach Hamel was by far the biggest stain. Going on to probably the highest profile bust yet, though, in 2007, the big one was Nikita Filatov, another bad 6th overall pick by the Columbus Blue Jackets. Filatov was just a disappointment in so many ways. Somebody that in terms of pure skill was electric and absolutely a top 5 player in that draft, but another guy in a long list of guys who just didn't have the work ethic to put in to make himself an NHL player. It's honestly kind of embarrassing just how much Filatov went back and forth. He was in North America, then in Russia, then back in North America, then back to Russia, and would just ping pong across different team and different team. Nobody wanted to deal with this guy. And with all the stories we've heard, it makes a lot of sense. You go all the way back to the 2007 draft, and Alan Cheney, who was a part of the Ducks scouting staff during those seasons, had a great story about Filatov. He said that Filatov asked scouts, "What pick do you guys have?" They told him that they had the 12th overall pick, and Filatov answered, "I am a projected top 5 pick. Why are you interviewing me?" that really just shows all you need to know about Nikita Filatov and why he failed in the NHL. The lack of respect, responsibility for himself, and work ethic needed to become an NHLer. You can have all the talent possible, but when you have the mentality of Filatov, you'll go nowhere. And it's kind of impressive that he had, one good season in the KHL, getting 40 points in 2017. Besides that, Filatov was a dud almost everywhere he went, and it's a shame, man, because he was talented. Now, the 2009 first round had some great picks like John Tavares, Victor Hedman, but a lot of it had some weird picks, and this one, unfortunately, hits very close to home, as the worst pick ended up being at 8th overall, with my Dallas Stars taking Scott Glennie. Scott Glennie is a very unfortunate case, someone that absolutely had potential as this strong goal-scoring winger. He was somebody that in his draft year got 70 points in 55 games and had a great playoff run too, getting 18 points in 12 games. But a lot of that definitely was inflated by the team around him. You had Braden Shen as an absolute top-tier caliber talent alongside Jay Fair, Andrew Clark, Matt Lowry, Matt Calvert, some really good talents that Scott Glennie was really benefiting from. But really the big thing that held Scott Glennie back was just a multitude of injuries, groin, concussion, hand, pretty much everywhere around your body you could have injuries. Scott Glennie had them, and it really kept him from being an impact player, especially once he hit the pro level. And he wouldn't even be one of those players that tries to make it overseas, because he just did not have the capacity to do it health-wise. He was somebody that was decent in the AHL, but after it was obvious that he wouldn't be long-term a player in the NHL, he just stopped playing. And honestly, with the injuries he had mounting over him, you could see why. He's a sad case, but like a lot of Stars' first round draft picks during this era, it was another long line of failures that Glennie ended up being, unfortunately. Next up, going on to the 2010 NHL draft, and this one also featured some pretty high picks that didn't end up panning out too much, like Jack Campbell and Brandon Gormley, but to me, the worst out of the bunch was absolutely the New York Rangers selecting Dylan McElrath 10th overall. McElrath, I'm sorry to say, was just never that great of a pick to begin with. He was somebody in 2010 that was an imposing physical defenseman, but that was what he was best at. He still had some major weaknesses in his skating ability and speed, getting out of his own zone, and I think that would be the biggest weakness for him going forward. He would actually play a couple games this last year for Washington, which was pretty miraculous, but he's most likely an AHL journeyman for the most part. I think McElrath is part of an era where they drafted physical defensemen just because they're violent and not really much else, and you could tell with the skating ability that McElrath just lacked and the lack of pace that he was able to create that he wasn't going to be much else than a hitter. Nowadays, we're starting to see defensemen bring a lot more to the table with their skating ability and their transition ability, and McElrath was just never a defenseman that brought that. Unfortunately, I think the Rangers and the draft type around him was just setting him up for failure because he was never this top-end defenseman that he was drafted to be. I hope that he can somehow carve a future in the NHL someday as a stay-at-home D, but that's the most he's ever going to be. And at 10th overall, the pick just was way too high for him and set him up for lofty expectations that he simply couldn't meet. Now going on to the 2011 NHL draft, and there weren't any extremely high-profile draft busts. The top 10 was pretty robust, the worst pick maybe being Ryan Strome. That's how good it was. But after that top 10, to me the worst pick was absolutely Duncan Siemens, who was the 11th overall pick by the Avs at the time. I think Siemens is a good case of defenseman who does a couple of things decently, but doesn't have the overall tools to be able to make it in the show. He's somebody that in 2011 put up some decent numbers with Saskatoon, 43 points in 72 games, but he was always most likely going to be a more physical defenseman. Really, the big strength for him was actually the skating. Compared to McElrath, he was a pretty smooth skater, especially around his own net. That was the major strength there. But I just don't think he had the defensive consistency or really was able to use his body in a great way to be able to become this elite shutdown defenseman. And he also had hands of complete stone. I mean, throughout his entire career, he was beating everyone to a pulp that he possibly could. And I think it affected his health, his hands, his ability to move the puck. And that was a major weakness. You could get some decent physical play and some big fights from him, but you weren't able to depend on him transporting the puck or keeping up with NHL pace. And unfortunately, he just was never able to stick. And after 2019 and a bunch of seasons just fighting and doing nothing in the AHL, the writing was on the wall and Siemens ended up retiring. Now, of course, we go on to the fabled 2012 NHL draft. And of course, this is multiple NHL busts. You could go over, I mean, you could make a whole video about the draft busts in this draft, especially in the first round. But of course, the most notable has to be Nail Yakupov. We've talked about him a lot on this channel, but another player that just, it seemed like didn't have the work ethic ethic nor the maturity to stick at the NHL level and get better at his craft. Somebody that had incredible talent, and I think in the OHL was a stupendous player. I mean, in his first year, he got 101 points in 65 games with Sarnia. There was potential there, and he had a couple of decent seasons. His rookie season with Edmonton was pretty strong, but outside of that, just did not have the consistency nor the overall game to stick in the NHL like he probably should have. Now we go on to absolutely one of the more unfortunate cases on this list, to the 2013 NHL draft, with the most notable draft bust being Samuel Morin, drafted 11th overall by Philly. This one I'm honestly pretty sad about because Morin, I thought, had some pretty good potential as a defensive defenseman. Good skating ability, was pretty consistent at what he did. And in the QMJHL, even though I think he was drafted way too early, was still somebody on track to be a productive NHLer. But the big problems were a lack of offensive development and really, unfortunately, a bulk of injuries. Especially with his knee, he tore his ACL twice during his career and would basically be forced to retire in 2022. But man, injuries really kept him from being able to do anything in the NHL with Philly, and it's one of the players in this list that I feel for the most. Now going on to the 2014 NHL draft, and there are a lot of options inside the top 10 among draft busts. You had players like Jake Virtanen and Hayden Fleury, but to me, absolutely the worst ended up being Michael Dal Colle, 5th overall pick by the Isles. Michael Dal Colle was a pretty special case. He was an electric junior player. We're talking about insane production with Oshawa, 95 points in his draft year in 67 games. Then the year after, he had 93 points in 56 games and 42 goals. That was also topped by a playoff run that saw 31 points in 21 games, and obviously Dal Colle was proving himself in the OHL. And you can even see in his first year in the AHL, he was actually pretty decent, getting 41 points in 75 games, but even though he would still improve in the point totals, that was really all he was doing. He wasn't improving on his major weaknesses, which were really rampant. Even though he was a big forward with